All right, looking at D in 10.6, multiplying polynomials. Um, what I like to remember, and some students will recognize this and immediately start thinking of this little way to help us remember this little acronym FOIL that will help us remember how to multiply this. But I kind of look at this and I say, okay, this first term here, this x, has to hit everything in the other parenthesis. And then the second term, 3, has to hit everything in the other parenthesis. Okay? And what's happened over time, at least in the United States and in the English-speaking countries, is they have said, well, this is the first thing in each parenthesis. So we'll call that first. So we'll take x times x. Okay, and get x squared. Then the outside stands for the x and the 8 because they're the outer things in the parenthesis. So we have x times 8 or 8 times x, and we get 8x. That's positive 8x. Okay, and then these happen to be on the inside of the parenthesis, that 3x. So we have 3 times x, and those are both positive, so we get 3x. And then it happens that this multiplication is the last thing in each parenthesis, and so we have 3 times 8, which are both positive again, so I have positive 24. Okay, so what ends up happening often, well, it's not 100% of the time, but these middle two terms will be able to add together. And so I have x squared plus 11x plus 24. Okay. So looking at that procedure a little faster with E here, I'm going to write down FOIL. So for F, we'd have 4x times 2x. For O, we'd have the outside, we'd have 4x times 1. For the inside, we have to be careful. It's negative 7 times 2x. And then for the last, we'd have negative 7 times 1. I'm writing a little small here, I know, but hopefully I can enlarge it on this next part. So here I get 8x squared. There in the O part, I get positive 4x. And for I get negative times, that's a positive 2x. So negative times positive is negative 14x. And then negative 7. Okay, so be careful with those signs. And then here we can put our middle terms together. We got x squared minus 10x minus 7. Okay, and then I think I'll stop the video on this one and we can look at F. It's a little longer problem here. Well, you know, the video is only 3 minutes right now. We can take care of this, I think. So when you spot this, I always think this has to hit everything in the second parenthesis, and then this has to hit everything in the second parenthesis. So we're going to end up with 6 multiplication problems here. This negative 2x has to hit the negative 4x squared. Okay? So when I do that, I get negative 2x times negative 4x is 8x to the third. Then this has to hit this, the middle term. So I get negative 2 times 4 is negative 8x squared, because x times x is x squared. And then this will hit back here, and I get minus 14x. Okay. That takes care of the first term hitting everything in this second trinomial here. Okay. Now this 1 has to hit everything in this parenthesis. And well, we know when we multiply by 1, things just stay the same. It's the identity property of multiplication. So I'll take this 1 times negative 4x squared. Now watch what I'm going to do here. When I take the 1 times the negative 4x squared, I'm going to line it up right underneath the other x squared term. Then I'm going to take the 1 times 4x and get 4x, and I'm going to line it up right underneath this x term. And then I'm going to take this 1 times 7, and there's no other constant to line it up with, so I'm just going to leave it kind of on the tail end here. I'm going to draw a line here. A student kind of taught me this organization method. I hadn't used it before. I kind of like it though. So my things are lined up in columns here. My terms are lined up in columns. So I have 8x to the third. I'm going to add these together. Negative 8 plus negative 4 is negative 12x squared. Then I'm going to add these together. I get negative 10x. And then I have my constant at the end, 7. Okay, so those kind of get a little long here when you have a binomial times a trinomial. This one's going to kind of be torturous for us here. It's going to be a trinomial times a trinomial. So we'll work that out in the next video. Okay. All right. Thanks.